The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey guys, this is Brad from Motion Media. Just think we're going to go ahead and get started now. It's 11. It's time. I think most of you know Motion Media since you probably found this webinar through us, but I just wanted to let you know that we are having a promo on Smart Scanner. So if you like what you see, and I'm sure that you will, then if you buy a license of Maya, you can get Smart Scanner for $6.95 as an addition. So that's a pretty good deal. And as far as the webinar goes, if you have questions during it, feel free to chat them over in the question box. And there's me and also Dave from BZP Pro are available to answer any of those questions. So something that that we can't answer or that Brent needs to show, then we'll go ahead and either do it at the end, or I'll just interrupt him and have him do it then if he's right there. Otherwise, I am going to go ahead and pass it over to Brent so we can get started.
Thanks. Hey guys, I'm Brent Zorich. I'm co-founder of BZP Pro. This company was formed actually to address a missing need in the industry involving rigging and skinning of characters. It's a pretty tedious process. And my background that brought this expertise to this software, I was on the best practices steering committee at Lucasfilm. I was an executive trainee at Lucasfilm, and I was at the Skywalker Ranch frequently. I worked at 2K. I worked at EA Sports. I was in the DreamWorks Outreach Program, and I actually worked for the top two architecture firms in the world, Gensler and MEBJ. Gensler is Steve Jobs' architect and Zuckerberg's architect, and MEBJ is Bill Gates' architect. And I've rigged on all these titles, Star Wars, Tiger, Madden, Superman, Indiana Jones, which is Spielberg, and rigged characters such as Jabba the Hutt, Boba Fett, Brian Urlacher, all kinds of things. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this demo. Oh, and just so you know, too, just recently we were on the cover of 3D Artist magazine under the Maya rigging section. A few years back, I was in 3D Artist magazine as the industry insider. They did a story on me, and this last summer they reviewed our software. 3D Artist did an 8 out of 10. So we've been in worldwide magazines 3 times. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started here. This is Bane from Warner Brothers Batman Arkham Origins, and this is a video game level character, although his topology is pretty dense, so it could be used for film as well. I went ahead and put him on a reference layer so you can kind of turn him off and on and kind of do what I need to do. I'm going to start by launching the software in Maya. And when you launch the software, the web page pops up as well, which actually goes over tutorials, install instructions, examples, all kinds of things. So you get all that as well whenever you launch the software. So the software launches. The first thing that I do is I create the scale node, and then I execute the sketch skeleton. So that kind of blocks out the first rough draft of the skeleton that I need to do rigging on. The way this works, I'm going to go ahead and template this. You actually have to move your model to the root of the skeleton. The root is actually locked in place. That's the one thing that you have to do, and that affects the controls and pretty much everything else. Once that's done, I go ahead and template. And then I don't know the level of expertise of the people watching, but one of the things that's difficult in rigging is actually dealing with joint orients. So the way these skeleton is actually oriented, it is X down above. So I start by selecting this scale node, and I want to scale this down so it's a better fit. So I'll make it about 0.3, just so it fits in there a little bit more snug. And then I come through and then just begin to move these joints around so they're in the proper location. Now, you only can move these joints around in the orientation on the open channels because you don't want to screw up your joint orients. So when you see here, like I can't translate this, but I can rotate it and scale down X. So if I wanted to move this joint down here, I would grab its parent and scale down that way. I'm not going to do that, but that keeps the joint orients in a clean rotation. So then come through and just kind of begin to sketch these out a little bit. And I want to scale this down, rotate this back, rotate this down, scale this down, rotate this out, so it's kind of in a good spot. Look where the foot is when we come through and this up a little bit, rotate this down, scale this back. Then come through and do the spine. And really, in all honesty, the first time you do this, it's going to take you probably a half hour to just get accustomed to it, half hour or 40 minutes. But eventually what's going to happen is you're going to start flying through these things in 15 minutes. So maybe I'll scale this up a little bit. More. And then come through on the neck, down, scale this, rotate this back, rotate this up, scale it up, come through on the clavicle, go to front view, rotate this down, scale this back, rotate this back. Come through. I'm not going to worry about the, you kind of get the idea what's going on here. I won't worry about the fingers just for sake of time. Scale this up. Come through. Go to perspective. Rotate this up a little bit. Scale this down. And the good thing about this is if you do a rig that you don't like and you want to redo it, you get it done so quickly it's not even funny. So you come through and then so front, rotate this down. And then once I have one side done, what I want to do is come back to the tool. And if they're symmetrical, I can leave it asymmetrical if I want to, but it's symmetrical, so I hit this button. It makes it symmetrical. Hit button 4, locks the skeleton into place. drop down B. Hit button 5. Creates the leaf twist joints down the character. You can kind of move these guys around, get these in the proper locations for twist joints and the arm and things like that. Make it symmetrical. Button 6. Makes it locks it into place and makes the animation driver skeleton. So if you look here, this animation driver skeleton, this white skeleton, is driving this black skeleton. So when I come through here like this, it's a multi-chained level rig. Once that's done, go back to the tool, drop down C. Any excess joints I don't want, I can delete with these ping buttons. I don't want hamstrings, I don't want biceps or triceps, I don't want pecs, I don't want lats. I can simplify all the way down the middle if I want to, but I won't do that. Whoops. Select the mesh. Select the number of influences I want on this mesh. So I'll say 4. Hit the button. It does a bind to it. And this is the portion where I do the skinning. Had I selected mobile up here, I would pick this mobile knob right here. I did not do that, so I'll leave it film next gen. I hit 8A, and then the browse comes up. What I want to do is reference in my smart scanner scene that was installed with the software. And you can see this black reference scene is actually installed in with the software. And what I want to do with this black reference scene is I want to proxy this, I want to proxy Bane with this black mesh. So I have this quick little button here that I can kind of start with. I'll bump this up right here to, say, 1.5, hit quick scale, and it kind of bumps it up automatically. Kind of gives me in a little bit of a better spot. And then what you do is just go through here, and I'm going to turn the joints off. What you do is come through here and just begin to move this stuff around to get this Bane mesh into this character. And slide this out a little bit. Come through, slide this out a little bit. Take these handles, maybe scale these up. Scale these up. The feet and ankles, we want to scale these up too, just so they kind of fit in there a little bit better. And you can kind of come through and move these around so they're in the ideal spot. I'm going to go ahead and move this to world. Coming through with the ankles here and scale those ankles up. And come into the body and just kind of pick these handles and scale these guys up just so it's kind of encompassed. Come through with the mesh. I'm going to translate this down, get it so it's a tighter fit. Come through and with these handles right here. And I'm making a, you can kind of see, I'm making a proxy of this character. And I actually invented this technique. This would have saved me at Lucasfilm. I was in creature research and development at ILM, and this would have saved me a ton of time. That was a few years back. I was actually reviewing shots on Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. take this guy and actually slide this down. This guy, slide this down a little bit. And then scale this back. I'll come through and unlock the limit information. Come through and scale this down. And there'll probably be some spinning cleanup that you would have to do, but this is enough to give you a pretty good start on everything. And once that's done, he's kind of like a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man looking type proxy. I'm going to want to scale these up a little bit. A little bit. I go back to the GUI, and I pick the mesh and hit button 8B. It transfers the skin weights, and your skinning is 95% done. So when I go back to joints and actually pick this and then move this around, he's got skinning data on him. Any cleanup and tweaks that you want to do, you can go ahead and do. But for the most part, you have a skinned character. Once that's done, come back to your GUI, hit button, this reference scene is still in there, hit button 8C, it unreferences the scene. So now you have a clean scene with clean skin weights on it. Drop down D, hit button 9. It generates an entire control GUI at the level of Lucasfilm. Hit the button below, generates cartoony squash and stretch. Hit the button below that, enables the facial GUI. And I just saved you 80 hours of work with this Smart Scanner tool. And it's a fully functional rig. So you can grab a control and move it around, do what you want to do with it. And on the 15 version, when you see this graphic user interface, since this mass node is called mass node and not named anything, you would leave this blank. If it was named a name colon mass node, you would type in the name and the colon. If it's named name then mass node, you would type in the name. But it's this called mass node, so I'll leave this blank, and then from there I have a fully functional graphic user interface. I can pick the controls, do what I want to do, animate around. And just so you know, if you look here, in the outliner, when we started this tutorial, all that was in this scene was this mesh. Now if you look, I just generated all of this. Three skeletal layers, controls, constraints, everything. And as a quick reference, when I come to, this is my personal website. When I come down here and go to right here, if you look at budget, based on my experiences, if you were to rig a character, you would have 80 hours or 2 weeks to get the character done. So these 7 characters right here, both biped and quad, were done, would have taken 560 hours of billable time to get done. I got all 7 characters of these guys done in 3.5 hours. So if your billable rate is $200 an hour, it's now, instead of $110,000, it's $700. And for the control node, if you look here, just to show that the legitimacy of this, there are actually 2,135 nodes that I've generated. Each node, if you do it longhand, you spend 2 minutes per node. Some nodes take 1 minute, some nodes take 3 minutes. By the time you name it, do the connections, all your other stuff, that's 72 hours. This smart scanner made this control rig in 10 seconds. So you can see the level of complexity. And then I'll show you this as well. I'm going to go ahead and actually close him out. We actually have a quadruped version as well. So the quadruped version, scale node, scale skeleton, create the final skeleton, drop down, create the leaf nodes, finalize, any excess joints you don't want you delete for the quadruped, reference in the smart scanner, transfer down your skin weights so it transfers the skin weights over, copy them, unreference, drop down the control rig, make cartoony, facial GUI, and a GUI. So you can really save a lot of time with this thing. And with that, that concludes my presentation. And I'll let Brad kind of take over.
Yeah, hey, sorry. I was unmuting myself there, but I do have a quick poll that I just want to launch, basically, if all you guys could take a second to answer this. It's just basically asking how much time you spend rigging or skinning in a week. So I'm just curious to know. So take a few minutes there and answer that for me if you could. And then, just so you guys know, if anybody wants to see this more in depth, you know, we can do a more personalized demo with Brent for your company, for you. So, you know, feel free to email me. My email, you guys will have my email address because I'm going to send out a link to the webinar, which is recorded. But just in case, it's brad@motionmedia.com. Or if you're already working with another rep at Motion Media, feel free to just ask them. We can set something up for you. Let's see. Looks like almost everybody's answered here. Give it a couple more seconds. All right. Well, it looks like I can show you the results here. So most of you guys aren't rigging and skinning constantly all day, every day. I'm not even sure that anyone is, but interesting. So you're spending a few days at least, sometimes all week. Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, I'll send out an email with the recording to this so you guys can check it out. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me or give us a call. and we can help you out, or we can set up demos, etc. And just want to thank Brent and Dave from VP Pro.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Deadline
guys. Have a
Spheros.
good week.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.